Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are at number 2, the number 2 greatest Super Bowl of all time, and it happened last year. Super Bowl 44, the New Orleans Saints versus the Indianapolis Colts. It was the number 1 seed of the AFC versus the number 1 seed of the NFC. The Indianapolis Colts trying to win their third Super Bowl. Obviously, in the past few years, they won against the Chicago Bears. They were trying to win another one against the New Orleans Saints. And the New Orleans Saints, it being their very first Super Bowl, it was a game to remember. And I say that because this Super Bowl in particular broke a record. Not just an NFL record, but a television record. Super Bowl 44 was the most watched television program in the entire history of television. That is a humongous record. It had greater ratings than the series finale of MASH, if you believe it. Yeah. But anyways, the beginning of this game, it was pretty much all Indianapolis Colts. At the end of the first quarter, it was 10-0 Indianapolis, and my first thoughts were, well, the Colts are going to win this one, no problem. Second quarter, the Saints got a couple of field goals, making it 10-6 at the end of the first half. And then I thought, well, we have a ball game. Looks like this is going to be pretty interesting going into the second half. Of course, The Who performed, and, it was a great performance by The Who with all their great songs, Pinball Wizard, We Won't Get Fooled Again, Magic Bus, all their big hits. But anyways, when the second half came up, obviously the Colts were set to receive the ball, but something happened that almost no one saw coming. I mean, obviously the Saints saw it coming, but everyone else around the world did not see it coming. When they were about to kick it off to the Colts, all of a sudden there was an onside kick. It completely drew the Colts offside, and the Saints managed to recover the onside kick. It looked like the Colts recovered. Clearly they didn't. The replays confirmed that they didn't. And some Colts fans were thinking, well, Jim Caldwell should have challenged it. Well, here's the thing. Onside kick recoveries, by rule, are not reviewable. They are the same as fumble recoveries in the field of play. It is not a reviewable play. And this play, which was later called ambush, completely changed the momentum of the game. All of a sudden, the New Orleans Saints were starting to take command of this game. And obviously, the Colts, all they could do after this was score a touchdown. It's like that was the only score that they had in the entire second half. And obviously, Peyton Manning and the Colts, on their second to last offensive drive, they tried to score a touchdown to score the game as they were nearing the 30-yard line. And when Peyton Manning was trying to throw to Reggie Wayne, all of a sudden Tracy Porter, who was a very key player to the New Orleans Saints in their postseason, picked off Peyton Manning, ran it 67 yards back for a touchdown, which essentially sealed the game. The same quarterback that picked off Brett Favre in the NFC Championship to keep the Saints alive sealed the game for the New Orleans Saints. And it was a very devastating loss for the Indianapolis Colts, to say nonetheless, because you play a whole season for that game, for the Super Bowl, and the Colts had a very good chance to win, and they lost because of an onside kick and a pick six in the second half. In the NFL, it's another example of coming so close, yet so far. As for the New Orleans Saints, it was a very crowning moment, not just for the football team, for all of New Orleans. It gave them a reason to believe. It gave them a reason not to abandon New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. As for this postseason, both the New Orleans Saints and the Indianapolis Colts are in the playoffs, and they're both playing in the wild card round, but who knows exactly how they'll do. The Indianapolis Colts obviously are not at full strength in their receiving game. They have, the Colts, a lot of their key receivers are injured. Anthony Gonzalez, Austin Collie, Dallas Clark. It's not looking good for the Colts. I don't think they're going to win against the New York Jets. I want them to beat the New York Jets. I don't think it's going to happen. As for the New Orleans Saints, they're going to be taking on the Seattle Seahawks at Quest Field, and it's never easy to play at Quest Field if you are a visiting team, because obviously the fans there can get so loud, and with the way the stadium is built, that sound is amplified double. So it's obviously going to be hard for the Saints to win against the Seahawks. The Saints are the favorite to beat the Seahawks, but obviously the 12th man, the fans, are going to play a huge factor in that. Will the Saints make it to the Super Bowl? Probably. Depending on what happens in the postseason, there's a good chance it might happen. But who can say? I mean, if anything, postseasons can be unpredictable at times. I mean, this has been the most unpredictable football season I have ever witnessed. A lot of teams we expected it to make it into the postseason got crushed big time. There have been some teams that we thought had no chance of making it into the postseason yet did. So who can say what will happen? For all we know, the Colts and the Saints might end up playing each other again in the Super Bowl. But then again, who's to say?